If I have, let's say, $50,000 of debt,
Yeah.
and I need to get rid of it, and I'm already making like minimum payments to the debt,
Yeah.
but it's like, I don't want to do that anymore because I know it's going to take forever. I'm going to pay all this money in interest.
Yeah.
Like, what's the best way to actually to handle that without paying all this interest?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So, the first thing is you have to realize the relationship between cash and debt, right? So a lot of people, they think, cash is good and debt's bad. Well, actually, when you look at it economically speaking, they are the same thing. Right, like, so a dollar bill is actually a Federal Reserve note. It actually says it on the dollar bill. A note means it's debt. So when we get dollars, that's debt that's owed to the Federal Reserve Bank. We pay the interest on those dollars through inflation and taxes, right? So there's not a difference there. So the other thing is it's like matter and antimatter. So if I were to take my dollars, let's say I had 50 grand, and I was like, let's pay off all the debt right now. Okay, I could get rid of the debt, but I would also get rid of the dollars. So then it's like, okay, well, now I don't have the 50 grand. What if I invested that? That could have been building me wealth this whole time, right? So a lot of people, they try and solve that by never paying off debt and always investing the money. Like, oh, well, the debt only costs me 4% and I can take the money instead and go invest it at 12%. That doesn't quite work either because your debt is principal and interest, right? So it costs you 4%. Well, you're probably on 50 grand paying like $1,500 a month in principal and interest payments. If you take that same 50 and you invest it at 12, you're only making $500. So it doesn't quite compute, right? So that's what most people try and do. The real solution is what we teach people to do with the sacred account, right? So you set up your sacred account, you use the life insurance, high yearly cash value, dividend paying whole life insurance. You put the 50 in there, and you have to put a little bit more. You probably have to put in like 65 or 70. That's in there. That 65 or 70, that's going to grow forever. It's never going to lose money. But now you can borrow 50 from it, use that to pay off the debt. You've now freed up the payments and the interest. So the interest is gone. You're still making interest on this money over here, but then now you can pay yourself back, right? So if you were to do this on like a timetable and you looked at on like a plotted chart, like option one, like don't do anything. And if we were to look at, 10 years into the future, if I did nothing and just made minimum payments, I would have more debt. Right? Option two, pay it all off with cash. 10 years into the future, I would have no debt, but I'd also be broke. Okay, option three, keep the debt and then use my money to invest and try and use OPM and loans and all this stuff. Well, 10 years down the road, I would be negative cash flow. I would have, my debts would be, basically paid off by my income because I wasn't making enough income with the investments. And then option four, if we did the sacred account, I would be out of debt completely. And I would have the 70K that I originally put in, plus it would have grown. So I would be out of debt with more money than I started with. So that's what most people should do. And the method behind that is you'd line them up smallest balance to largest. Like most people don't have one debt of 50,000. They've got a fiver and they've got a 10 and a 20 and that all adds up to 50. So you would just line them up by balance, smallest balance to largest. And then you would just, go through and pay off each balance as you go until you finally knock out that biggest one.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the point is also to keep it, create your, keep the money, have it grow while also paying it off.
Yeah.
And recapturing obviously all that cash flow that's been going to the debt.
Yeah, it's like to have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
I always hate that. It's like, why would I have cake and not eat it?
It's also like a redirection. You're like, you used to just be going straight to just, giving it to the bank and then they're just gimme, and you're just giving it to them, right? And it's gone every month. So instead of doing that, you're redirecting to give it to yourself pretty much, like your own policy. Yeah. So then you can access it.
Right. And you're guaranteeing a future that way.
True.
You're always going to have more money than you started with. And the sacred account, as a life insurance policy, it literally is the safest place you can put money. And that's its claim to fame. It's not that it's, the most, lucrative and all this other, it's the safest place you can put money, and it allows you to borrow against it and become your own bank.
Safekeeping. Yeah. So it's like from any economic downturn or whatever political stuff that might happen, it's like, it's there and the companies are like completely secure.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how I would go about it. And here's the thing is like for some people that's going to be a long plan. And this is where like, I'm talking to you if you're watching, if it's going to be a 5 or a 10-year plan, you have to do that, and throughout you've got to keep increasing the income so that you can speed it up. Right? And as you increase the income, you may have to reevaluate. I used to maybe have a policy where I was putting $500 a month in. Now I grew my income and I can do $1,500. Maybe I need to go adjust things because I've still got a couple years worth of debt to pay off. So I've got to be persistent. I've got to have a long-term mindset with this. And then for other people, they've got like, one debt where it's like, I've got $3,000 on one credit card. They're going to be out in 6 months. And then it's like, okay, well, great. You'll be out in 6 months. Then we'll readjust at that point. If you're wondering what does Wealth Dynamics do, how can we actually help you? Number one, if you haven't gotten a copy of my book, Blueprint to Financial Freedom, grab one now. You can get that down in the comments in the video. You can get the link for that. Number two, we do a free course on Fridays on personal finance. Okay, you can also get the link for the description there too. And then finally, if you have a desire to start getting help walking through these different phases toward financial freedom, book a call with my team. Go to our website, set up a call. We're able to help out and answer questions. That's how we can help you. Thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you turn notifications on, and I will talk to you guys on the next video.